Sheila, this is Rebecca Land, and I wanted to give you some feedback on your video. No, excuse me. So what we're going to do right now is I've already watched your video, and I just want to make some comments as we watch through a little bit of this. We may not get to the end, I may skip around, but that's how we're going to do this. If this wasn't helpful, let me know. I can give you feedback in a different format, absolutely. So one of the first thing that I want to talk about is your setup. Your setup is fantastic. Your wall looks great. One thing that's happening though is, do you see how your shoulder is blending into the background? You've got that black. So I'd recommend choosing a different color shirt to wear. Ideally, I'd recommend dressing up a little bit, just because our goal here is to make ourselves look professional, and that, dressing up a little bit, maybe a shirt with a collar or something like that, is going to make you look a little bit more professional. I love the way you framed yourself. This is the first, yours is the first video I've seen that has actually framed themselves. Yours is the first where you've been framed the way that I would recommend. I can see you from at least the bottom of your rib cage up to the top of your head. You're able to use hand gestures. This is incredible. This makes a huge difference in your ability to be expressive. So let's watch a little bit of this.
Did you know that there's more than 600?
So first of all, the studio comment that you made at the beginning, I know that we missed it, but let's go back to that. It's a little bit confusing. So make sure that you're setting us up to understand you right away. Moving forward.
In the United States and more than 1,200 worldwide, according to Professional Edge magazine.
Okay, I love that you cited your source right away. I love that you're doing that. One thing I want to call attention to you is, do you know how you've got look at how you have your head positioned. You've got your chin, you're kind of looking down your nose, you've got your chin pushed out. This kind of position tends to come across as a little bit, and there are a couple ways that this can come across. It can come across as aggressive, it can come across as I don't care, it comes across as a little bit defensive, just on like a gut impulse level. Go ahead and sit up straight and look us straight in the eyeballs. Don't look down your nose, don't look down your chin. It feels a little bit more vulnerable, but one of the things that it does is it really helps you connect with us in an honest way. Moving forward.
When people usually think of pole dancing, the first thing that comes to mind is the 8-inch stilettos and the pasties with the tassels on them. I know, because I used to be one of those people. Then a persistent coworker and a Groupon discount later, I finally went to class and my life was changed forever. Now,
careful, you threw away the end of your story. If your life was changed forever, oh my goodness, my life was changed forever. Go ahead and let that land. I mean, that's huge, right?
In 2009, I was 250 pounds. I had gym memberships, and I had all the home workout programs that I never ever stuck to. And then I was introduced to my pole, and immediately my life changed. I started gaining muscle.
Okay, so you got a little bit of repetition there. Your life was changed forever earlier, and now immediately your life was changed. So make sure that you, especially with your introduction, we don't need it to be long. We just need it to be to the point, right? So go ahead and decide which life was changed forever moment you want to have, and stick with that one.
Fat. I even became an instructor in the summer of 2012. When I started instructing, I learned a lot about body mechanics, and I started using muscle memory visualization techniques that real trained athletes have used, been known to use anyways. In my classes, I watched women coming in that, much like me, never ever stuck to any other routine. They would come in 5 and 6 days a week because they finally saw that their workouts were working out and their body were actually changing. So it's apparent to me that pole fitness has become mainstream. And in order to perform these movements at a competitive level, you've got to possess a really great amount of strength and endurance and flexibility and coordination, and you combine all of those attributes together, and you really do have today's modern pole dancer. No more notions of Lola and the feather boa. These pole dancers are real true to form athletes, and as with most athletes, they come with aspirations and dreams, Olympic dreams, Olympic hopes, and getting rid of the stripper stigma was just the first step in order to be recognized as a sport, an Olympic sport.
Okay, so one of the things that's going on is, if you want us to recognize this as an Olympic sport, help me understand the problem. So what's the problem? So you've told me why you've told me in the beginning that everything's hunky-dory. It's become normalized. We don't have the stigma anymore. People used to think this, and now they don't. But what's the problem? We still aren't being taken seriously as athletes. What's the solution? We need to get this, I don't know. And it sounds like your solution is have it classified as an Olympic sport. Awesome. Okay, so go ahead and set that up for us. Help us visualize where that need is. And you're going to, and some of that comes from just being really straightforward. Tell us what the problem is. We're still not being taken seriously as athletes. This is your big idea, right? Or maybe your big idea is, I think that you had said it was the Olympic sport thing. So, okay, fine. Say that. And say it really, when we're thinking about public speaking, we really want it to be in short sentences. We hear best when people speak in short sentences. So if you've got a concept that you can say in a short sentence, do it.
It first has to be recognized as a sport and have worldwide popularity. So in order to accomplish that, the International Sport Pole Federation, they established bylaws and rules and regulations.
Okay, so who is this organization? Go ahead and qualify them. Sometimes, like if I'm going to cite The Daily Show, Daily Show is a cultural thing that we're all pretty much aware of, so I don't really have to explain what The Daily Show is. But go ahead but I don't necessarily know what the Sports Federation organization you just mentioned does. So tell me in a sentence who they are. So if I'm talking about Jon Stewart, I'm going to say Jon Stewart. He's a comedian talk show host. He hosts a political commentary show every weeknight in the United States. Something to that effect. So you got a really short sentence. Just gives a quick blip, but it sets everything up.
Or to make it cohesive, and then they organized the very first World Pole Sport Championship, according to Time.com. So say in theory, a stripper had never ever touched a pole, and you've just witnessed a performance on the vertical apparatus. No doubt you would notice that the movements mimic that of any gymnastics routine, and you'd probably be in awe of what you just got finished watching. So it's not just the Olympic dreams of women. There's also men that a whole community, international community of men that are not circus performers. They are true to form athletes that, much like male gymnasts, they perform at an artistic level. So it shouldn't seem odd. It shouldn't seem odd at all that there's male polers, because there's male gymnasts, and they have the same muscle structure. They have the same staggering arms. They have the same core strength. They have the same flexibility. They've got to train the same muscles the same way. So I think that gives good argument that it is a sport. Polling is a sport. It was derived from
Okay, so how do you know that they've got the same muscle structure? Like, is there, and I know for this speech we need to have one of those, one source from the online database, right? So how do you know? How do you know their muscle structure is the same?
Sport, a male sport, an ancient male sport, where the wrestlers would use the pole to perform strength training exercises and yoga poses, which help them in their wrestling. Now, just as Olympic gymnasts have to train their bodies to move in these unnatural ways and perform these acrobatic feats, a pole dancer has to do the same thing.
That was a really great transition. Well done.
But they have to do it suspended in midair 95% of the time, so kudos to them. There's a lot of people that feel the same way I do about this. In fact, there's a petition to be signed online. I'll link to that later on. And according to CBS.com, it's got well over 6,000 signatures. I believe now there's well over...
Okay, CBS.com, when did you check this? So make sure that, especially like if we're looking at the number of signatures on a petition, I want to know when you last looked at it, because that's time-relevant information.
7,000 signatures, and Now that we've examined the parallels in between the gymnastics and the pole, I'd like to touch base on one last subject, the outfits. The reason why polers wear what they wear is simply because...
Okay, so why are you going to talk about the outfits? Because, I mean, why? So, and what specific outfits are we talking about? Now, I'm guessing the slides, and if I remember correctly, the slides do help you focus that in. Okay, so make sure that you're specific. Cool.
They need to have as much skin as possible exposed, because that's how they maintain their grip on the pole in order to perform the feats that they perform, 10, 15 feet above the sky. Now, wondering what this uniform has to do with beach volleyball, and I wonder how the heck you get the sand out of those places. And I'm not saying that two grown men in doubles badminton chasing around a 5.5-gram shuttle around 20 feet of court isn't a sport, but I know that polers have to train at least as hard as they do. So, I hope I have invoked enough new thinking about polling to you to convince you to follow the link I provided, show your support, and sign the petition.
All right, so thanks, Sheila. You did a lot of good work. Well done. And I just wanted to mention, you have really excellent vocal variation. You've got really good energy. You're really well spoken. So anything that I'm giving you is just... it's just tiny tweaks, because I see a lot of potential in your presentation ability. So thank you so very much for sharing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what this turns into. Yeah, great work.